With me today in Hyderabad are two of the new GNSO Council members, Michele Nalon and Rafiq Damak. Michele, you come from the registrars stakeholder group. Could you talk us through the role of registrars in ICANN and the internet ecosystem?
Sure. Registrars are the companies that sell domain names to the public, I suppose, best way of looking at it. Within ICANN, you have two houses. You have the contracted parties and the non-contracted parties. Contracted parties are those of us who have contracts with ICANN, which is the registries and the registrars. Non-contracted is everybody else.
And how did you become involved in ICANN and the GNSO?
I run a hosting company in Ireland, and obviously seeing what was happening with domain names and we were selling them to our customers, became aware that there was this ICANN thing somewhere in the background. Didn't really understand what it was. Got a bit more interested in that, and so it was very kind of American dominated. So I like arguing with people, so I got involved.
And Rafiq, you come from the other side of the house, the non-commercial user side of the house. Could you talk us through the role of the NCUC and your background?
So the non-commercial user constituency represents civil society, academia, and all those registrants that they don't have any financial interest on ICANN. And so we kind of represent really large spectrum of organization and individuals. And we were formed since the inception of ICANN, and we tend really to advocate about human rights, freedom of expression, and privacy, and so on, to defend the registrant and the end users, and to be the voice of civil society here. For my personal background, I'm a computer engineer, and I joined NCUC in 2008. And in 2009, I was appointed to the GNSO Council at that time, and it was kind of interesting experience for me to discover how policy is made within ICANN and all the different processes and so on.
So, given the new role of the GNSO post-IANA transition, what do each of you hope to contribute to the GNSO Council? Rafiq first.
I think it's quite tricky because it's still an uncharted or a known space for everyone. We don't know what we can expect, and also we have to deal with different interests within the GNSO. That's not new, but within the new role, there may some new stuff that's pop up and we have to figure out. So it's quite good the challenge for those who get involved, because I think for the last years maybe there is no enough kind of hot topics within the GNSO Council. Now I think it will become much more interesting, but I think it's important because the transition is still going on. So it's, what happened is just one step, and still we have to figure out what we have to do, and to understand also the impact of the different groups. So even for us as the non-commercial stakeholder group, it can be challenging because we are not the most well-resourced group within ICANN, and most of us really are here as a volunteer. So it's going to be fun.
Well, I mean, the GNSO Council coordinates the policy making, but it doesn't actually make the policy. The policies are made within the working groups, and it's the role of the GNSO Council to kind of manage that process. Post IANA transition, I mean, as Rafiq mentioned, the IANA transition isn't completely done. It's still evolving. That role, it's not going to change dramatically. I think you're going to see an evolution. You're going to see an emphasis and a focus maybe on certain parts of ICANN more now than in the past. But I mean, ultimately, the wheels still need to keep rolling. Things still need to keep happening. Nothing really should change. I mean, ultimately, if the IANA transition is successful, nobody notices and nobody cares. So I think the GNSO Council at the moment is facing a lot of interesting challenges, because there's a lot of interest around certain topics where, oddly enough, there is a bit of convergence of views here. I mean, things around, like, say, content regulation, some interest groups trying to push the boundaries of what is within ICANN's remit, and trying to get ICANN to get involved in things that are really outside of scope. So I think we're going to see some interesting challenges.
So you've both alluded to it being quite a busy week ahead. What do you see as being the key topics for GNSO Council this week?
I don't know, it's that key topics. It's always like kind of trying to choose your favourite child or something. There's a number of quite big issues at the moment. I mean, you've got who is related stuff, which is always a favourite topic. The RDS PDP has been going on now for several months, and you know the end is nowhere near in sight. Then there's the who is review team is meant to be kicking off now as well. Then again with who is, you've also got proxy privacy and a bunch of other little work streams. They all interact with each other. So it's always interesting to see what people come up with at the council level. So for now, I'm going to reserve judgment.
Well, I do think for this meeting we are going to spend more time discussing policy issues, which was not really the case before, because all the work on the CCWG and so on. So as Michele mentioned, I think the WHOIS and RDS, as they call it now, and also the rights protection mechanism and so on. So it's really all those heavy policy process that they should take more time of those voluntary here. We spent, I think, so much effort on the transition and so on, but we need to come back to the business as usual. And also, I think still about the remit of ICANN, for example, there is at least 2 sessions which maybe overlap, but they will take a different standpoint about the content regulation and what they call the abuse mitigation. So it's all this is we need more kind of substantive, frank debate about those issues, and to explain to people what ICANN cannot do on matter of content and so on. So yeah, I do think it will be interesting, but let's see how things will evolve within the week.
Great. Well, thanks to both of you for joining us, and best of luck with your time on council.
Thanks.